Oh! Hello! Welcome to Wheel Talk. I'm Recappa Sedai. Today we're going to talk about The Eye of the World, chapters 6 and 7. These chapters are pretty serious, so this is going to be a very serious episode. I'm just kidding. We're going to have fun. Okay, spoiler-free recap for Chapter 6, The Westwood. Where we last left off, Tam has been hurt. He's got a fever, it's getting worse. Tam's groaning while Rand bandages him. And then Tam's like, "You're still lovely, Kari." Kari, Rand's mom, died 15 years ago, so that's not good. Rand has to get Tam to Emond's field. He cuts up the blankets and ties them to the two cart shafts to make this makeshift litter. It's like a stretcher, but shitty. He puts Tam in the litter and starts to drag it to Emond's field. He's gonna take the quarry road, but he's gonna kinda stay off to the side. Trollocs might be after them, and he does not want to get caught. So he's moving down the quarry road, staying in the trees. He's dragging Tam over brambles and roots and rocks. Tam is like, ow, ow, ow. After a while, exhaustion sets in. The litter is feeling heavier. Rand is starving, he's freezing. Tam goes into these feverish ramblings. They came over the dragon wall like a flood. How many died for Layman's sin? Rand stops to give him water, and Tam grabs him by the collar. He's like, "Everyone called them savages. They said we could just wipe them out. How many cities were burned? How many battles do we lose?" Tam is just somewhere else. The field of Marith. Dead people everywhere. The topless towers of Cairhien burning. Burning all the way to the shining walls. Burning all the way to... Rand covers his mouth. He hears something. Coming down the quarry road from the east, he sees the hooded rider. His cloak is untouched by the wind. Spooky! Also, there are two lines of armed Trollocs behind it, so not good. The Trollocs keep heading west, disappearing down the road. Rand doesn't move. He's hunched over Tam. They're still hidden in the trees. Just as he starts to straighten up, the hooded rider comes back. This time, the horse doesn't make a sound, which, again, spooky. Every once in a while, as it comes down the road, the hooded rider stops and looks around. And then it stops right in front of Rand. Rand's like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And then it moves on, thank God. It continues down the road till it's gone, but Rand still doesn't move. Which turns out to be smart. The rider comes speeding back in the other direction, back towards the Trollocs. Rand waits, and then finally he's like, okay, we gotta go. He checks on Tam. Tam's like, Rand tries to give Tam water, he won't drink it. Things are not looking good for him. But Rand keeps dragging Tam towards Emond's field, and he keeps telling himself how great it's gonna be once they get there. Tam starts rambling again. Avendizora didn't make a seed, but they brought a sapling. A gift of wonder for the king. They never made peace, and it was a sign of peace. But they brought it. Grew for 500 years. Why cut it down? Why? Avendor Aldera tree. Rand's like, what? Also, be quiet. But Tam just kind of rambles on. The slope of the mountain. Only place that didn't stink of death. Heard a baby crying. Why was she there? She gave birth before she died and the baby was freezing? Crying in the snow? I couldn't just leave a baby. Knew you wanted children, Kari. Yes, Rand is a good name. Rand is like, sorry, what? He literally falls to his knees. I mean, he's tired, but still, it's a dramatic moment. Also, he basically drops Tam, who's like, ow. Tam gets back to mumbling, and Rand's like, no. No. You're my father. You're my father. You're my father. He was having a bad dream. Let's keep going. He picks up the litter, keeps heading towards Emond's field. He's trying to forget what Tam said, but really, Rand's like, who am I? Talk about an identity crisis. Anyway, that's chapter 6. Woo! We did a chapter! Let's do one. Chapter 7, Out of the Woods. This is fun. It's just before dawn and Rand is approaching Emond's field. Tam has stopped murmuring. Rand doesn't stop to check on him. There's no time. He can smell wood smoke and he's like, thank God I'm almost there. And then he realizes there's too much smoke. Rand reaches the village and half the houses have burned down. Master Luhan, the blacksmith, sees Rand and he hurries over. He tells Rand the Trollocs came here too. He looks at Tam and he says, okay, he needs the wisdom. Master Luhan sees Egwene. He calls out to her. Egwene is devastated when she sees Tam. She says, come on, I'll take you to Nynaeve. Rand is just kind of numb at this point. Egwene leads them to a house. She tells them to wait outside and she goes in. Mat's house has burned down, but Master Luhan's like, Mat's alive. He talks about how his wife Alsbit reacted to the Trollocs, and I'm gonna read this part because it's fabulous. Alsbit cracked one skull with a frying pan. She took one look at the ashes of our house this morning and set out hunting around the village with the biggest hammers she could dig out of what's left of the forge, just in case any of them hid instead of running away. I could almost pity the thing if she finds one. We haven't met Alsbit yet, but she's cool. And then before Master Luhan walks away, he says this. I'm gonna read this too because it's also fabulous. The light will take care of us all. And if the light doesn't, well, we'll just take care of ourselves. Remember, we're two rivers folk. Nynaeve and Egwene come out of the house. Nynaeve immediately goes to Tam. She checks his eyes. She checks his wound. And then she says to Rand, there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. For a second, Rand is in shock. And then Rand grabs her and he says, you have to do something. You're the wisdom. He's dying. And this really hurts Nynaeve, but she is a healer. This is what she does. And for all of Nynaeve's passionate nature, she keeps her cool and she knows how to handle this. And she says, Rand, don't you think I would do something if I could, but there's nothing I can do. And there are people who need me. Rand says, I brought him as fast as I could. Nynaeve says, I know. It's not your fault. I'm sorry. I have to go. Egwene hugs Rand. She says, I'm so sorry. I wish there was something I could do. Nynaeve shouts from inside, Egwene, I need you. And wash your hands. This is the overall moral of the series. Wash your hands. I'm just kidding. That's not the moral of the series, but it's not a bad takeaway. You need to wash your hands. Rand decides to go to Bran because the mayor always knows what to do. When Rand gets to the Wine Spring Inn, Tom Marilyn is outside. Tom immediately comes over, helps Rand carry Tam into the inn. Bran is busy, but he sees Tam and he runs over. He's like, Rand, I thought you were both dead. Bella came running into the village. Let's get Tam upstairs. We sort of brush past the fact that Bella came running into the village, but hey, Bella's alive! Rand sends Tom to get Nynaeve. Rand starts a fire, he cleans Tam up a little. Tom gets back, he's a little annoyed with Rand. He's like, you didn't tell me she'd seen him already. She will not come. She was not happy with me. Rand is desperate. He asks Bran, what do? I have to do something. Tom's like, I was just wondering if the mayor knew who drew the dragon's fang on his door, because it seems like someone doesn't like him. Or his guests. Bran's like, well, it was probably a conger or a coplin, because they suck. Tom is like, actually, I saw some of them earlier. It seems like they do really suck. Bran's like, yeah, that idiot Darl Coplin wanted me to put Lana Moiraine out of the inn. We all know there wouldn't be a village left if it weren't for Lana Moiraine. Bran's like, what did they do? Bran's like, what did they do? Moiraine called lightning out of the sky and she sent it at the Trollocs. It shattered the trees and the Trollocs. Lan was a whirlwind with his sword. It's like he's in 10 places at once. We don't even get to see it and I'm still like, yes, badass. Anyway, Bran's like, yeah, they were fierce. And Aes Sedai in Emond's Field, who would have thought? Bran's like, whoa, hold up. And Aes Sedai? Bran's like, yeah, what did you think? And then it just hits Bran. He's like, oh my god. Aes Sedai can heal. Duh. Gleeman, you should have remembered that. Why didn't you say anything? Tom's like, I want nothing to do with Aes Sedai. I don't even want this to be my suggestion. Bran says to Rand, look, No one wants to get involved with Aes Sedai, but she's kind of your only option. And Rand's like, yeah, I'll do anything. Tom tells Rand where to find Moiraine, and Rand's exhausted, but he goes as fast as he can. He sees that the men tending the bonfires are burning Trollocs. The air reeks. Lan is examining a dead Trolloc. Rand runs up to him. Lan takes a badge off the Trolloc, and he says to Moiraine, this makes 7 bands of Trollocs. Moiraine says, that is not good. That many haven't worked together since the Trolloc Wars. Rand feels weird knowing she's Aes Sedai now, but he's like, Moiraine Sedai? Moiraine sees Rand, and she says to Lan, a little more light in the darkness. And then she asks Rand, how are your dreams, Rand? A night like last night can cause some bad dreams. I can help with bad dreams sometimes. Rand's like, okay, that's not why I'm here. It's my dad, he's hurt, there's nothing the wisdom can do, but I've heard stories. And Moiraine says, Rand's like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. I've heard Aes Sedai can heal. If you can help him, I'll pay any price. And Moiraine's like, any price? Well, if we talk about prices, we'll talk about it later. No promises, but I'll do what I can. Lan's like, death comes for us all eventually. Unless you're one of those idiots who serves the Dark One. Moiraine is like, don't be such a downer, Lan. I know Lan had a rough night, but seriously, that got dark. Take me to your father, Rand. I will do what I can. Rand's like, yes, he's at the inn. This way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He hurries ahead of them, but Moiraine and Lan are moving kind of slow. Rand's like, please hurry. He's kind of dying. Lan's like, hey, you have no idea what she did last night. How dare you? Maybe he doesn't say it exactly like that. He's like, you can't imagine how tired she is. I'm not sure you're worth it, sheep herder. Moiraine's like, hey, easy there. His dad is dying. Rand, I'm going as fast as I can. And the chapter ends with this. He was committed now. He matched his stride to theirs and tried not to think of what the price might be that they would talk about later. Ooh. And that's chapter 7. We did it! We did 2 chapters. Whew, we did it. Where's my wine? On that note, before I move on, thank you to everyone who gave your input on how you'd like the pacing of Wheel Talk to go. Everyone was kind of split down the middle on whether you want 1 or 2 chapters a week. Here's where I'm at. At some point, I may have to pick up the pace because if I don't, it'll take 14 years to finish the series. But I think for this first book, it's just not time yet. For The Eye of the World, I want to really focus on each chapter. And then whenever I do pick up the pace, I'll have been doing this for longer. I'll have a better handle on things and it'll be easier for me to go up to 2 chapters. There's that one piece of hair. Every single time. Every single time, this one piece of hair. So for now, 1 chapter a week. I will do 2 chapters if it makes sense. Excellent. Good talk. This ends the spoiler-free part of Wheel Talk. The next part of the video is the 13th Depository. I'm going to assume you've read all of the books. If you haven't finished the series, I recommend not watching this part of the video because I don't want to spoil these books for you. They're so good. So I love you all, but if you haven't finished the series, get out! I pronounced this meeting sealed to the flame. About last week, I said something wrong. Layman 100% cut down Avendor Aldera for his throne, not his sword. Don't know where that came from. But you know, I am not perfect. I can't even keep my hair on straight most of the time. But Layman's sword was a heron-marked blade, which is actual solid evidence that Layman was a blade master. That's where I was going with that. I think some of what Tam says in chapter 6 makes it less likely that Tam killed Layman. I still don't think it's impossible. Why do I lean into that theory? I guess I just like it. I like that Jaime Lannister moment for Tam. I like the idea of him killing the Mad King. I think it's fabulous. Is it likely? It's not likely. Okay, let's talk about Tigraine Mantir. I was gonna do this last week as a Mother's Day special, but then I didn't, so I need you to pretend it's last week. Cool, happy Mother's Day! Tigraine Mantir was Rand's biological mother. Her brother was Lord Luke, which makes Luke Rand's uncle. Which is crazy. But we're not here to talk about him, it's Mother's Day. That guy. Tigraine was the daughter heir of Andor, so she studied in the White Tower. She couldn't channel, so she pretty much majored in politics. When she returns to Caemlyn, she marries Tarangale Damodred, Layman's nephew. She did not love Tarangale. The idea was to improve relations between Andor and Cairhien. They have a son, Galad, Galadidrid Damodred, whatever, Galad. Tigraine's mother was queen, and the queen's Aes Sedai advisor was Gitara Moroso. One day Gitara says to Tigraine, I've had a foretelling. You need to go to the Aiel Waste and join the Maidens of the Spear. The fate of the world depends on it. And Tigraine's like, well, geez, when you put it like that, I guess I'll pack my things. How come Gitara gets all the epic foretellings? Tigraine vanishes from Camelin. She crosses the spine of the world, gets to the Aiel Waste, and joins Fardarai's Mai. Get it! Tigraine takes on a new name. She becomes Shail of the Teardad. Shail falls in love with Janduin, the Teardad chief. In the Aiel War, Shail travels with Janduin and the other Teardad over the Dragon Wall to kill Layman, who happens to be her ex-husband's uncle. I love a good family drama. In the third year of the Aiel War, Shail gets pregnant. They should have sent her home, but they didn't. I'm not sure why. The Maidens of the Spear are hardcore, but so is giving birth. On a mountain, in the snow. But she stays with the Teardad, and on the third day of the Battle of the Shining Walls, she gives birth to Rand on the slopes of Dragon Mount. Moments later, she dies. Happy Mother's Day. This episode's running long, but real quick, I want to talk about the show. We haven't talked about the show yet. I can't believe it's happening. Here's my question. If it were up to you, what scene would start season 1? I don't want any of us to get unreasonable expectations because we have no idea what they're going to do. This is just for fun. Now that we know season 1 is going to focus on Moiraine, I'd be really interested in seeing the story start with Gitara's prophecy that the dragon is reborn. I would rather see it start with a young Moiraine than lose Theron. I feel like that's an easier way in because the prologue's a lot. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Thank you for watching. I've been having a ton of fun with you. One last quick thing. I don't really feel like there have been spoilers in the comments, but we're getting further in, and I should just say it now. Anything in the comments that could be thought of as a spoiler, just make sure you start it with spoiler warning, give people a heads up, but also definitely leave comments because it's been super fun. You can also always email me at letsgetwheel@gmail.com. If you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, it really helps and I appreciate it. If not, I still love you. You just watched this whole video. Until next week, friends, walk in the light and keep it wheeled. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so excited to go back to one chapter.